How you doing? My name is Conrad Countess, and I'm the author of the book that you see, Cosmic Alignment with the Cosmic Mind and the Cosmic Pattern. But that's not what I want to talk about today. What I want to talk about today is a theory of a geometrical interpretation of E equals mc squared. That famous equation by Einstein that proved that energy and matter are one and related to the convergence factor of c squared. This enables nuclear energy and showed that a lot of energy was trapped inside of matter, and that if you could release it, well, they did and created atomic and nuclear bombs. But what I want to do is show not only geometrically E equals mc squared, which agrees with the equation, but actually shows how energy equals and turns into matter through the convergence factor c squared. And you can show it geometrically. And this also solves the problem that the people at the Large Hadron Collider in Geneva, Switzerland were supposed to solve when they said they discovered the Higgs particle. That was full. That wasn't true. And it solved the quantum gravity problem, the merging of quantum theory and general relativity. And it does it in the simplest manner because it just shows geometrically how energy equals and turns into matter. But first I want to read a paper that I wrote. And it starts off, my name is Conrad J. Countess. I am an independent researcher. My approach has been based on the very basics of research, the objective evidence itself, free of all prejudices, including one's title, degree, and any preconceived postulates. I am quite aware that titles, degrees, and preconceived postulates are valuable if they have proven themselves before, but not always. And many a deception has been made because of this, the financial crisis being the latest and greatest example of this. And let me add one more, the so-called discovery of the Higgs particle, a particle that is said to impart mass or energy, which was supposed to have been discovered in Switzerland on the Swiss-France border. And it involved a machine called the LHC, or Large Hadron Collider. It cost $9 billion, and they had a whole super grid of computers. They worked for years and years on it. This was a theory that some people growing up back in the 60s, and it is said that they made the discovery the 4th of July, 2012, and that and somebody got a 3 people, I think it was, got a Nobel Prize for it. But anyway, the theory turns out to be wrong, and I can prove this. I don't want to step on the scientists' toes. We need them because we need to fight global warming and this fracking, which is causing earthquakes and a lot of the human activities that are causing so much of a disturbance of the earth because the big companies are so interested in making money. But what are you going to spend this money on if the earth is messed up? I don't get it unless they got some spaceship somewhere and somewhere else to go. I don't. But anyway, we need science and we need science to remain credible. But they got this one wrong. Uh, but I just want you to consider the bare naked evidence itself. Let the evidence speak for itself. And I'm sure that you will find that in this case, that is the best policy. For otherwise, a great discovery would be overlooked. In other words, let the evidence speak for itself and therefore act as its own credentials. One very important lesson therein is that all great discoveries don't come from people with said titles, degrees, and or ideas based on preconceived postulates. Postulates are like ideas that are said to be proven to a mathematical certainty, and if a person comes up with a new idea or theory, if it agrees with the postulates, people usually say, okay, it agrees with the postulates, so you could go on with it. It might lead you to a discovery. But if it doesn't agree with the postulates, they say, oh, it's wrong because it doesn't agree with the postulates. Postulates like They say the speed of light is the highest possible speed in the universe and that the speed of light is constant. Those are not entirely true, but people get stuck on those and they act like a dead end, and it stops them from discovering things like the true origin of rest mass and quantum gravity. They're the same problem. The solution is the same because of something called the inertia mass gravity mass equivalence. And we'll see that with the geometrical interpretation of E equals mc squared, we see exactly how energy equals and turns into matter, which is through circular and or spherical rotation. Mc squared is a frequency, just like de Broglie gave us the equation E equals hf, which applies to photons, light particles and waves, equals E equals mc squared, which applies to electrons and all other matter. And he pointed out that E equals hf equals mc squared at the level of the electron and positron. That showed that the electromagnetic spectrum is also the energy matter spectrum. And people have known this for years. The ancients have told us for years that matter is just high frequency vibrational energy. And it is. And we can see that with the geometrical interpretation of E equals mc squared. Matter comes about because of frequency of energy being high enough. C in the linear direction times C in the 90-degree angular direction. Okay. Now, although this may be indeed rare and statistically very improbable, maybe even as rare as diamonds, on occasion it is fruitful and even just as valuable as indeed those very diamonds. I think this is one of those occasions, and by that I mean that it may be very rare that somebody from outside of academia makes a grand discovery. Maybe rare, and a lot of people say, no, that's impossible. People just, and I can show you this on the websites and some conversations I had, is recorded on international internet record. People saying that, how can you discover something that thousands of people worked for years couldn't discover? People with titles and degrees. Hey, it doesn't take much to discover something. You don't need a title or degree. You just have to have enough sense to know that you discovered something important. And, hey, a child can find a nugget of gold, whereas a person who got a degree in geological physics and knows where gold is supposed to be by looking at the minerals on top of the earth, he's supposed to be able to look at that and say, oh, gold is most likely to be found here. He might not be able to find it in 10 years. When a kid might walk along and see something shiny and knows from watching TV or see his mother's wedding ring, knows that, hey, that's a very interesting rock there. And he may find gold. He might not even have finished kindergarten. So you don't have to have these degrees and titles to recognize something shiny and beautiful. And hey, that's all I did, Plus, I'm a self-taught person. I know how to I know how to study. I'm a detective. I know how to track down evidence. It's no denying this is a discovery, the greatest discovery since relativity and quantum theory. It's the true discovery of the origin of rest mass, the true discovery of quantum general relativity unity. And the people who have the degrees and titles just have to face it. They've been spooked. All right. And by the way, the music that you hear before and after the discussion is music from my collection, not necessarily street poetry, from the original Son of the Sun. Now, there's another group called the Son of the Sun, but I was the original, and that is what you hear. Okay. Bye for now. Hello everyone, my name is Comrade Countess and I'm about to make a video demonstrating the geometrical interpretation of E equals mc squared. By that I mean I'm going to demonstrate geometrically how E or energy equals and turns into matter through the convergence factor c squared. And it's very simple because c squared geometrically and on a quantum level just means c in the linear direction times c in the 90-degree angular direction. It's analogous to, say, a square inch. A square inch is an inch in this direction times an inch in that direction, and it makes a square. Because you go around here an inch. Well, it looks like I'm going like a foot now. So let's say a square foot because it's big enough where we can see where it's up there. But say a square foot. A foot in this direction times a foot in that direction would make a square. But now c, the speed of light squared is the speed of light in this direction times the speed of light in that direction. And a lot of times when people speak about the speed of light squared, they talk about the speed of light as 186,000 miles per second in this direction times 180,000 miles per second in that direction, and you have like a square of 186,000 miles squared as a representation of a square area as opposed to a line, showing that it's a great amount of energy added to a square than in just a straight line. And some people refer to it as a linear square, meaning that 186,000 miles per second times 186,000 miles per second, which equals something like 332, 100 billion something or something like that. But it just demonstrates that it's a tremendous amount of energy within a small amount of matter. But what I'm doing is demonstrating c squared on a quantum level, the smallest level, to show you that it is the frequency, because frequency is just like when light is traveling, it usually travels in a wave, and the frequency means the wave is moving at a certain speed. A quicker frequency means it's moving at a faster speed, and a slower frequency is a slower speed. So when you get the speed of light squared as a frequency, you get light moving along this way times light moving along this way, and what that does is that causes a 90-degree offset trajectory and creates a circular motion of energy. And you can have energy traveling like this, which is a circular polarized wave. And in that case, you would get a spin, because things can travel this way and that way and this way and that way and roll backwards in some cases and forwards in some cases. If it rolls backwards, you get an electron. If it rolls forwards, you get a positron. But anyway, this geometrical interpretation of E equals mc squared shows not only in agreement with Einstein's equation that energy equals and is interconvertible with matter through the conversion factor c squared. It actually shows how. It shows how matter equals and turns into matter at the conversion factor, which is the frequency of c squared. And if you ask most scientists and physics teachers how does energy turn into matter through the conversion factor c squared, they'll tell you that c squared is just a mathematical conversion factor with no geometry. They don't even understand the geometry of it. And they'll give you a lot of explanations, but they will not give you the one I'm giving you. I'm actually telling you how energy equals and turns into matter through the conversion factor c squared. And that is because c squared is actually a conversion frequency where energy turns into matter because it takes on a circular and or spherical rotation. Let's see how this thing is working. My name is Conrad Counters, and I am the author of this book, Cosmic Alignment with the Cosmic Mind and the Cosmic Pattern. And it outlines a pattern that pervades the universe, the mind, and society, and it points to a lot of new discoveries. And amongst them was the discovery of a geometrical interpretation of E equals MC squared, which is what I want to write the second book about. I've already written the second book. I'm just going over it and editing it and everything. And that's what my Kickstarter project is going to be about. And I already have papers out on it that you can look up on the web. And one of them is this one, the geometrical interpretation of E equals MC squared. Okay, so to give the equation physical form and illustrates how energy equals in terms to matter by acquiring circular and or spherical rotation. And it also points out that C equals the square root of -1. It has a lot of new mathematics in it and a lot of new stuff, exciting stuff. Well, anyway, I've already paid for the basic package for the publishing of the book. And I've already published one book with these people, which is Our Universe. And this time I wanted to do an advertisement campaign so that I can make sure that the book gets the most exposure. And so that, well, really, I did want to make a little money to fund my research because I'm doing constant research. But I also want to give it the most exposure because I think it's a topic worth exploring, and that it is very important because it deals with energy. We know that Einstein's E equals mc squared, which is the most famous equation by the most famous scientist, contributed to an understanding of energy, and that added to our energy resources, nuclear energy, but it has a positive and negative effect. But I'm hoping that this will have more of a positive effect. But even just an understanding of how energy equals in terms of matter, I think it will provide us something down the line. I'm not sure quite what, even though I'm looking at a possible way of turning light into electricity by bypassing something called the photoelectric effect. But I'm not ready to expound on that quite right now. I'm just looking at that down the line. But I think that it will add to our understanding of energy. And since we are headed for energy crisis, I think that this will expound and add to our understanding and hopefully be in a positive way. Well, anyway, I asked Our Universe to send me a marketing strategy, which they have, and the cost of it, all of it, is about 20-something $20-something thousand. But I don't want to do all that. And like I said, I already got the basic, paid for the basic package, and the book is really finished. It's just that I'm editing it. But I do want to get some professional editing, and I do want to get do some advertisement. So I'm just trying to get $10,000. And what I'm going to do to people who contributed a certain amount, I'm not quite sure yet, but I will, give out some T-shirts and a copy of the book, and I'm trying to be as fair as I can because I'm not really in it just to make money. I really want to get a lot of exposure for the book, and I wanted to kind of like pay for itself in the long run, and hopefully I can give it everybody who contributes what they gave and more. Hopefully, I don't know exactly how everything works here, but I definitely appreciate the help because I need some help. And I can tell you that the idea is sound. You can look me up on the web, CJ Counters, and you will see the book that I've written already, Cosmic Alignment with the Cosmic Mind and Cosmic Pattern. And you will all also see the theory, copies of the theory, and you can see me arguing or see conversations of me arguing with other physicists on the Google physics websites, and you can see how when I first started I was not that good at arguing, and sometimes it may seem like I lost the argument, but you can see how I came back, how I was stuck with my idea, how it becomes more clear, and how the evidence gathers more and more, and how in the end I win, or the argument wins. The evidence wins, not me, because I'm just going on the evidence, and it's not me, and it's what evidence is saying. So, like, with that, I'll say thank you, and I will be putting some stuff on YouTube and explaining it in more detail so that you can look at that and you can comment, or I'll try to set up something also where I can talk to people in real time or conference, and whatever, any way I can do it, because any questions I want to answer, I want to get it so plain and clear that you see it just the way I did. And so, with that said, thank you for listening. Thank you so much.